They already took your power before you opened your eyes. The clock claimed it. Your phone claimed it. The weight of yesterday's failures claimed it. And most people never even notice it happening. They wake up reactive, already behind, already losing a game they never agreed to play. But you chose differently this morning. You showed up. So right now we are stepping into something that goes far beyond motivation. This is a morning ritual, not a temporary push, not a mood boost. This is a spiritual decree, forged to set the mold of your reality so deeply that the outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself around you. Florence Scovel Shinn showed us that life is a game, but you cannot win it without knowing the spiritual law. Most people spend entire lifetimes wrestling shadows, convinced that life is something that happens to them. But the masters discovered something far more radical. Your word is your wand, and the morning is the exact moment you choose to pick it up. The morning is never neutral. It is never automatically a blank slate. It is either a declaration of your dominion or a surrender to your oldest patterns. This ritual is how you choose dominion. For the next several minutes, I am asking you to step out of the role of the searcher and into the role of the owner. You are not someone standing at the gate waiting for permission. You are the one who commands good into existence. In the language of the spirit, heirs do not beg, they receive. The words and thoughts you hold in the first moments of waking set the mold that your outer world must eventually fill. Picture your mind as a casting mold inside a great foundry. If that mold is shaped by exhaustion and lack, the infinite life force has no option but to pour itself into those narrow, broken forms. We are shattering the old molds today. We are building a new one, a mold called I have. But before we can build, we must clear. Before the new can enter, the old must leave. I know the voice that greets you when you first open your eyes. I know that quiet drop in the stomach before you even reach for your phone. That automatic internal sweep for what is wrong, what is missing, or who might be disappointed. That worn-out inner whisper that says nothing is really shifting. That is the old self, the residue of a world built on the illusion of struggle. Today we are not fighting those thoughts. We are not wrestling them. We are simply releasing them. Florence Scovel Shinn taught us the law of non-resistance. When you resist a thought, you hand it your life force. When you battle fear, you feed it. So instead, we acknowledge these thoughts and escort them out. Take one deep, grounded breath. This air is your first evidence of divine supply. You did not earn it. You did not negotiate for it. It arrived because you are worthy of it. Imagine your mind as a vast, quiet hallway where doubt and worry have been loitering for years, uninvited guests who stayed too long. Today you are the master of this house. You are reclaiming every room. Speak these words in your heart, or aloud if you are able. I release the fear that there is not enough. I see it for what it is, a shadow with no real substance. I release the belief that I must struggle to deserve my good. Struggle is only a sign I have forgotten my source. I release any residue of overnight doubt. My good is not waiting in the future. It is a spiritual fact, present and alive right now. See these fears leaving your body like a gray fog dissolving into the brilliance of a new morning sun. Florence was precise about this. Fear thoughts are like kinks in a garden hose. The source can hold all the water in the world, but if the hose is blocked, the garden starves. Release the kink. Now I cast this burden on the divine within, and I go free to be happy, healthy, and whole. In real terms, this means you are ending the rehearsal of lack before the day ever begins. Your personal self, the anxious ego obsessing over how and when, cannot solve the problem. But the divine intelligence alive inside you has already arranged the solution. The slate is clean, the channel is open. Do not circle back to the how or the when. Those are the preoccupations of a servant. You are the heir. The slate is clear. Now we must address exactly who is speaking. Florence's law of preparation states that before physical proof exists, you must inhabit the identity of the person who already possesses the thing. You cannot wait for money to arrive before feeling abundant, or for love to appear before feeling worthy. If you sit waiting for the outer world to shift before you shift, you are like someone sitting before a cold fireplace demanding heat before placing a single log. It does not function that way. You supply the wood, you supply the identity. This phase is about anchoring yourself in the reality of I have. If you knew with total certainty that a vast inheritance had been legally secured in your name, Your walk would change today. The same bills would be sitting on your desk, but you would look at them differently. Not with dread, with a quiet, knowing smile. You would not be pleading for the money. You would be deciding how to steward it. Hires do not monitor the world through the lens of anxiety, because they understand that the source is not a person, a job, or a financial institution. The source is the infinite. They do not chase. They align themselves and they allow. Today you are standing in the space of I have. No one is working against you, and everyone is teaching you something. When one door closes, it is only because it was too narrow for the greatness that is coming through next. Divine supply means the more you draw from it, the more there is. You are connected to a grid that never loses power, never flickers, never runs dry. Imagine standing before a towering, golden door that is already open. The only thing that prevented you from walking through it was the belief that you needed someone else to grant you access. Your breath this morning is that access. I am now operating from the identity of one who remembers. I am not seeking my good. I am the magnet for my good. I am not trying to get. I am preparing to receive. Now we lift the wand. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that the vibration of the spoken voice is a creative force of the universe. When you speak, you are delivering orders directly to your subconscious mind, telling it precisely what to construct. If you speak from lack, the subconscious manufactures lack. Today we issue entirely new orders through a sequence of absolute declarations. Speak these with the full authority of an established law. First, we command supply and abundance. I have inexhaustible divine supply flowing to me now. My supply originates from the infinite, and it can never be reduced. I have more than enough. My life is overflowing by divine right. I do not look to people for my wealth. I look to the source. I have money arriving in ways that are remarkable and perfectly timed. Divinely directed pathways are unfolding before me. Everything I touch prospers. I am one with the abundance of the universe. Notice how that lands. I have, not I will have. In the realm of spirit, time does not exist the way the mind imagines. There is only the eternal now. If it is yours in spirit, its appearance in physical form is simply a matter of moments. Next, we command identity and worthiness. I have the faith of one who has never once been abandoned. I have a rich inheritance. It is not something I earn. It is something I claim. I am worthy because I exist. I have permission to receive without guilt or apology. I have the confidence of a child of the infinite. I have no fear of what is ahead and no regret for what is behind. I am the perfect expression of divine life. I have a place that I alone should fill and no one else can ever occupy it. You are not an accident. You are a divine requirement. Now we address timing and divine order. I have perfect timing working on my behalf at all times. I am never too late and never too early. I am always positioned at the right place at the right moment. I have already received. The physical world is simply aligning with my decree. I have the patience of one who knows their good cannot be withheld. What belongs to me by divine right can never be claimed by another. I have peace. I have poise. I have the deep stillness that rises from knowing the work is already complete. Divine intelligence is never running behind. Finally, we seal everything with protection and guidance. I have divine protection covering everything that belongs to me. My home, my family, and my peace are untouchable by lack or harm. I have clarity, direction, and right action flowing through me today. I do not need to wonder about my next step. The spirit within me already knows the way and whispers it clearly. I have invisible forces actively working in my favor at this very moment. The path is smoothed. I have the victory. I have the light. I have the power. Feel the atmosphere in the room shift. You have stopped being a wisher and become a commander. You have moved from the frequency of wanting into the frequency of having. The universe only responds to I have. Florence Scovel Shinn taught us that the final movement is gratitude, not the thin, desperate gratitude of someone begging. The full, sovereign gratitude of a master who already sees the building standing complete. She called this giving thanks for the manifestation. In practical terms, it means you stop rehearsing the problem because you have fully accepted the solution. This is your activation moment. Identify one specific area in your life right now where you are standing in I have. Whether it is finances, healing, or love, speak it as a completed truth. Today, I have the thing I desire. It is mine. It is finished. I give thanks that it is now manifested in divine order and under grace. Once that word is released in genuine faith, infinite intelligence begins moving. Your only responsibility for the remainder of this day is to not dig up the seed. If you plant something and return every hour to inspect whether it has sprouted, you will destroy it. Most people destroy their manifestations through compulsive checking. They scan for evidence and say it has not arrived yet. Stop checking. Start being. This is precisely why two people can wake in the same room and walk into completely different days. One is interrogating the world for proof. The other is the proof. You do not hunt for evidence. You are the evidence. Your stillness and your settled confidence are the physical signals that the miracle is already moving. If you move through the day with lightness because you know your supply is already in motion, the universe begins to restructure itself around that certainty. Florence once shared a story of someone who needed financial help and deliberately purchased a small luxury they did not strictly require, simply to demonstrate to the universe that they already felt wealthy. That is the law of preparation in action. Move through this day as someone whose good is already on its way and nearly here. If doubt surfaces, greet it calmly and say, "Thank you, but I have my divine supply." That discomfort you might feel right now is evidence of the shift occurring. When you flip a light switch, darkness does not resist the light. It simply dissolves. But if you have lived inside darkness for a long time, the brightness will briefly sting. Outer change is usually the last element to move. Inner transformation is always the first. Think of a great ocean vessel. When the navigator turns the wheel, the bow takes time to follow. But the instant the wheel turns, the destination has already been changed. You have turned the wheel this morning. You are now planting in fresh soil. The roots are forming below the surface. The divine blueprint is being pressed into the fabric of your life. The great architect has already drawn the perfect design. Your only task is to stop sketching over it with a frightened mind. Trust the plan. Speak the word. Imagine your life as a completed film already sitting in the editing room. You might be watching a scene of uncertainty, but if you advanced a few chapters, you would see the scene where everything resolves, because you declared, "I have this morning." You have effectively bypassed the chapters of struggle. You are aligning now with the ending that was always yours and always waiting on the reel. You are not fractured. You are remembering your wholeness. You were born holding the deed to this kingdom. Today we wipe the dust from it. The ritual is complete, but the life of the air is just beginning. Florence Scovel Shinn's final reminder was clear. The game of life belongs to those who speak the right words with unshakable faith. You have spoken the words. You have issued the command. Now you face a single choice. You can step back into the world of not enough, or you can hold the command. You can decide that regardless of what the shadows appear to be, the light behind the projector is constant and unwavering. The ritual is not magic. It is direction. What you sustain on the inside, you begin to encounter on the outside. The work of the conscious mind is now complete. Anxiety after declaration is the only force that can obstruct your good, so release it. Trust the law. Commit to this morning command for 30 consecutive days. Do not monitor results. Simply arrive and occupy the seat of the air. The outer world must and will reconfigure itself to reflect your inner decree. The game is already won. Before you step away from this space, anchor this into physical form. Drop a comment below and declare, "I am ready to walk in divine alignment. I have." As you type those words, feel their weight. Feel their truth pressing into you. As you move into your day, ask yourself how you would walk, how you would breathe. If you knew without any shadow of doubt that your good was already present and already yours, then go and walk precisely that way. This power belongs to you. It always did. Divine love moving through me now dissolves every obstacle and makes clear, brilliant, and extraordinary my way. And so it is. If this ritual stirred something alive in you, stay close to this work. Subscribe to Scovel Spirit Daily and share this with someone who needs to remember who they truly are. Florence Scovel Shinn's wisdom was never meant to be kept quiet.